Did your father teach you how to sail, basically,
Oh, yeah, right, definitely.
on the S-boat?
Oh, even earlier, up in the Adirondacks,
Ah,
sailing was the big thing up there.
so he must have done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
I just wondered if you talk about what sailing brought to your life.
Taking command, being at the helm, expanding your horizons, and then dealing with the weather, squalls. As I say, it teaches you to overcome obstacles. And, it's a little different from playing tennis, and you don't get the same kind of challenge.
The rules of sailing are so complex and ever more complex all the time as people find creative ways to manipulate them and so forth. What is it that along the way got you into the rules of sailing?
Well, probably partly as a father being one of the three advisors to Harold Vanderbilt on developing the new rules, got me interested. And then on the team racing rules, it was what Bus Mosbacher did in the British American Cup at Cowes in 1949. We were even going into the last race with the Brits, and Bus was ahead, rounds the final mark, goes downwind to the squadron, because the squadron always had the starting and finish lines, so the committee could sit on the deck with Laura behind them. And he saw behind him on the previous leg a British boat luffing up two American boats to let another British boat through, which would have given them a winning combination. So he goes back on that leg and luffs up the British boat to let our boats through. And then, of course, he'd already gone around the mark so that he goes straight to the finish. And at a cocktail party after that, there was a great discussion about whether that was legal or not. So I got together with the appeals committee of the Australian Yachting Federation, and we set up several pilot situations, came to an agreement on how the rules worked. And then we offered that to the jury for the America's Cup. Well, no jury is going to decide a hypothetical, because if a similar situation comes up, it's always a little bit different. They don't want to get locked into some kind of precedent.
Yeah.
But it became part of the rules later, after that match.
But you think it might have been the initial interest might have come out of your father's help with
Maybe
that.
that was the first exposure, maybe.
Yeah.
You remember Callahan? Does that ring a bell? He wrote some books on yachting and yacht racing rules. So the St. Regis Yacht Club in the Adirondacks invited him up to give a talk on the rules. And that weekend, Father and some other sailors came up for the weekend. Well, Callahan got into the rules in about 5 minutes. Father and these others just slaughtered him. Didn't know what he was talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know who he was up against, did he?
Right.
I mean, they'd been working on it for years. Yeah. How many years was that from start to finish on the racing rules? About 30 or 40 years?
Yeah, I think, well, Vanderbilt spent about 20 years working on it, I think.
Yeah.
And then they had to get adopted. He took them over to England, and Sir Rafe Gore was head of the Royal Yachting Association. Was even more stern than Vanderbilt, and refused to acknowledge that the Americans had produced something better.
Yeah.
And Harry Morgan then got hold of Crown Prince Olaf and the Scandinavians to try the rules out, and did an end run,
Yeah.
and submitted them. They got accepted.
Yeah. That's a great story.